So you're treating COVID patients, I hear?
Mental health COVID patients, yeah. Very far and few between. Our hospital just started testing them with the Sophia test before we go down and see them, and trying to take
What's the Sophia test?
The Sophia test is a quick nasal swab, not as accurate as like the 30-minute results, but I mean, at least we're taking precaution before we go down and see them.
I can tell you, I mean, obviously death is worse, but the mental health aspect of this is just, I mean, I'm not like dying, but when I was holed up in an apartment before my wife and I moved, I was down, depressed. She was having anxiety. I talked to a lot of people who are just like lost mentally. And honestly, I think we live in the United Corporations of America. I think even when situation gets better, I think these companies are not going to hire back a lot of these workers and just do more with less. So the mental health aspect is significant.
Absolutely, especially in this area. Not only that, with COVID related that we're seeing, we're also seeing political and financial, and it's not just coming from one sort.
So you mean we're not rounding the corner, like Trump said?
I don't think so. No, and it's tough. It's definitely tough, especially working with people that are very pro-Trump. And
have you heard anything from Biden? Is there like any meat on the bone as far as what he would do with COVID? Because I envision, all right, he'll get in and wear a mask, maybe some type of mask mandate, which Republicans are now treating like guns. So don't tread on me. But in terms of like stimulus, there's no talks of any UBI for people. There's no talks of Medicare. I mean, he literally during the debate said, you have a human right to affordable health care. Yeah. Something can't be a human right if you have to pay for it. So it seems to me with Trump, it's just that quick shot in the head. With Biden, unless he comes and sees Jesus, it's like a slower death, I guess. Like, do you hear anything from him on COVID, relief, those kind of things?
A little bit back and forth. I think I would side more with Biden just because he believes science is real. Like, Trump literally said, I think I might fire Fauci, just give us a little bit. And like, that doesn't sit well with me, right. Working in a hospital and, you're getting a science degree. Right. It's like a slap in the face to everybody that's worked so hard to do what they do.
And you work in a hospital, so what do you, like, are you cringing when you see this 10,000 people super spreader that I was at yesterday? Because I can't believe it. It's one thing that they're all packed like that without masks, but on top of that, they got rows of buses that they're putting them in. So it's just like you couldn't create a situation to spread this thing more.
It sets my anxiety and depression through the roof. Actually, when I was voting today in line, there was somebody right up behind me, and I had to ask her like numerous times, like, I was in scrubs. I had my N95. I'm in scrubs. I'm not somebody that you want to get close to right now. Like, I came off a COVID unit, like obviously in PPE, but like out of my respect to you, I don't want to give you the chance of getting it. And likewise, I mean, we're very torn on that. And I see a lot of people that don't believe in it, and they're like, oh, let's just hang out in large groups, and you gotta weigh the pros and cons on it. And of course, it comes down to, if you want to stay safe, you'll figure out a way to stay safe, and you can't really, I don't know the right word to say, like, you can't get hung up on people that are.
But if we lived in a civilized country that first priority was its citizens, maybe we'd be like Europe and just say, well, we print money for war, we print money for everything. Why don't we just cover the payrolls? Because that's what Europe's doing. We don't need to put all these people on unemployment. People could stay home, work remotely if you can. I mean, people don't like the lockdowns, things like that, but you want to know something? If we would have done it in March and April, we would not have, I think it was 81,000 cases the other day, that nationally. I mean, it's totally insane.
It's backwards. It's absolutely backwards. Like, especially you have these big corporations, like you work from home, yeah. And now he's going back into the office like weekly. Like, you goes in 1 week, comes back 1 week. I understand, like, you're gonna have hospitals, places 24/7 that can't shut down, and you need people. But take the measurable precautions. Wear the mask. Wear PPE. Like, that is available. And if you can work from home to keep the numbers down, I guess it's just don't be selfish at this point, you know, because that's a very selfish move if you're going out without a mask and risking that.
And lastly, your guy here was a little bit more optimistic than I. Thinks we could maybe move Biden, you know, kumbaya. I think that's a fool's errand. What do you think? Because this man, his idea of moving was lowering Medicare to 60. He picked Kamala Harris, who, I don't know, there's not a lot there. I'm all for, like, great historic history if she becomes the first female vice president, woman of color, but, you know, policy-wise, nothing there. So how does the progressive movement, people are tired, people are burnt out. And, you know, the Biden people want to go back to brunch. We keep hearing back to brunch. How do you put the fear of God in him and the others that they actually have to move left if they didn't do any of that during the primary or the general and they won?
Oh.
I know, it's a toughie.
Yeah, that's a doozy. And, like, all I could think of is just, I mean, I see it from my parents. Like, they're on the Trump train. My whole family's on the Trump train. And
My parents do.
And it's disheartening, especially working in mental health and working in a hospital. And, like, I want to see, like, some sort of change, not somebody mocking my job and, you know, calling veterans, like, what was the word that he used? Losers, something like that. Like, to me, like, it just shows no morals. And Biden, not the best. It actually pains me to say that I voted for him, but I would rather vote for Biden with some chance of hope than vote for Trump with 4 more years of mockery.
I got to be honest with you because I've been yelling at some viewers. I don't understand this voter shaming. I really don't understand it. I mean, listen, I don't like particularly online media people that are like, you need to vote for Biden, you need to do this. Shut up. Do whatever you want. But it's not like this thing where, like, if you decide to vote for Biden, you're a sellout, you're this, you're that. That's why progressives are in the minority, because this insane purity. Listen, Trump is psychotic. I mean, he is. And I don't think Biden's great. I think he's a warmonger. I think he's corrupt. But to me, it's not even lesser of two evils. It's like, if you're going to have a progressive movement, you need to have a stable country. And with Trump, I don't think he's kidding. I don't think he's kidding about serving more than 2 terms. And look at what he's been doing with re-election in mind. If he doesn't have to think about re-election, I mean, the guy has delusions of grandeur. At the very least, with Biden, it would be your typical corporate Democratic establishment. I'd personally rather fight that than QAnon and Proud Boys and this and that. So I just don't understand these people that are like, you're a sellout, you're a this. And I also think it's kind of a little naive, because I think there's some people on the left who are like, no, withhold your vote for the Democratic Party. That way they can't take progressives for granted anymore, and they'll move to the left. It's like, okay, they lost to an orange fascist in 2016, and they moved to the right. Yeah. You think if they lose to them again, they're suddenly going to... I mean, that's just not going to happen, because that would indicate their first priority is winning, which I'm not convinced of.
Yeah, and the thing I think about is, like you said, like, we need a Democrat to have a better candidate in the office, because, like, 2004, Bush is incumbent and everyone panics and they vote for Kerry. 2020, there's a Republican in office, so they all panic and vote for Biden. Like, if you look at all the polls, like, everyone agreed with Bernie and liked Bernie was the most popular, but they just thought Biden.
I don't want to interrupt you, but a Fox News poll? Jen, was that a Fox News poll that came out tonight? That, like, 70% or something? Yeah, 70% were for, like, they called it a government-run healthcare system. Yeah. A Fox News poll, 70%. So, hello? Yeah, I mean, on the policy, the majority of the country.
Democratic primary voters, when there's a Republican incumbent, they panic and they vote for what they think is the safe option.
Well, because they have, I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars of corporate media. I mean, literally, if Biden were the most electable, this would be called. It would be called already. It wouldn't even be close in Florida, in any state. Honestly, I think if Bernie were running, we would be home smoking a joint, because it would not be close in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. That I can tell you. I could have egg on my face. In an hour, it could be called with a landslide. But as of right now, that's not the case. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think, like, if you don't want Kamala to be the next nominee, then you want her to be vice president and someone better to run against her. Right. So people can be like, well, even if we don't vote for Kamala, there's an incumbent, there's not the scary person we have to vote against. Right. Exactly. So I think it gives a progressive a chance to actually be the next nominee.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.